Alright, welcome back. I am Aaron Heiser of Silverback Customs, and this is the second video in our little project where we are going to take and make a file, a fiber engraving file for this knife. This is a Kershaw Leak copper, so it has copper handles on it. Really cool little knife. It's going to make a really nice engraving with the copper handles there. So, when we did the first video, we took a picture of the knife and we traced the areas that we wanted to engrave, and that's where we left it, because I'm not trying to make hour-long videos that, you know, people lose interest and don't want to watch the whole thing. So, here we are. So the very next thing we need to do, we've still got this brought up, the picture and everything is still a locked layer where we can't do anything to the picture, but the areas that we put on to engrave we can still mess with here. So here's what we're going to do now. We need to mark off the two areas I don't want to engrave, one of them being the Kershaw logo and the other one being that screw right there that the knife blade hinges on. So I'm going to take and draw a square around the logo and a circle around the screw, and I don't want either of those to get too close to the objects that they're surrounding, just because of the idea that if we do, then they will have if it's a little bit off, then it won't line up, you know what I mean? So, alright, I'm going to zoom in on the area that I did the Kershaw, because that's not exactly straight to the wording. The wording's at a bit of an angle to it, so I'm going to just grab it here, do a tiny bit of rotate. Alright, that looks much better. Okay, move it up a tiny bit. Alright, then I'll just make it to where all the sides are about the same equal distance from the edges there. Okay, now that we've done these things, it is time to do the fun part. First things first, I either will take and save this as it is, or I will take and open a new file, just a new blank document, okay, and I'm going to copy and paste what we have here. Edit, copy. Whoa, what do we do? I accidentally took that off the... Alright, and then I will paste it here. Now, the reason I did that is because I'm going to need these outlines again later, because one of our later steps is actually going to take those items away. Okay? Now, I did forget, I also want to put Lindy's name on this, okay? So I need to draw me one more square here. Or actually, I can do it later, so I'll just do it in a little bit. Alright, now, so what I have here, this is all roses, alright? Because again, we're making this knife look like this, with roses all over those engraved areas. Alright, so what I have here is a roses background. Alright, I say background, whoop, I accidentally drew me a circle on it there. I say background, it is a seamless background, which means over here matches up with over here if you put multiples of it together. Alright, so I want to copy this whole thing right here, and then I'm going to go back over here to, oh, by the way, you can find that by just Googling seamless backgrounds, things like that. I use a lot of Shutterstock. I know it costs money and that sucks, but man, the resources available there are just crazy, and totally worth the money, because the original ideas that you can do using all those resources. So anyway, I'm going to paste that right here. And I'm going to kind of decide how big I want the roses to be on the knife. Like here I'm looking at them right beside the knife, and they look pretty good. They look about the right size, but I am going to make them just a little bit bigger, just by stretching that out. Okay, now over here I have my swatches panel. Okay, like if I wanted to change the color of my outline here, that's the swatches panel that I would use. I'm going to take my roses and I'm going to move them to that swatches panel. Alright, and then after I do that, I'm going to just delete them off my screen. Now, here's the really cool thing. I am going to highlight this area, the blade, not the blade and that little square, but just the blade. And I will click on the swatch that created, and ka-chow, roses. Do the same thing to my handle, roses. Okay, now I need to go back, and those other two little squares, I am going to make them white. That way, when I flatten all of this, it won't engrave that area. It'll look like an area where there's no engraving to be done. Oops. Okay, so there we go. That is done. All right, now, once again, I need to do her name. Oops. I need to make me another rectangle. I'll use the rounded rectangle. I want to make it about yay big, maybe. I'm going to put my text in here. Okay, her name is Lendi, L-E-N-D-I. Okay, now I don't like that font. That's awful boring. So what I'm going to do is change it. One of my favorite ones to use with the engraver is Algerian. I really like that font. It looks like something that would be engraved, so I'm kind of a fan. Alright, now I'm just going to adjust the size of my box around it. Then I'm going to group that thing together. Okay, and I'm going to put it right here, because that's where I want it. Now, I'm also going to copy it. Copy. And I'm going to go over here to this new document that I had done, and I'm going to paste it right there. You'll see why in a minute. I mock up the entire thing, and then when I do some of these other stuff, some of this disappears. And so we need to go back to that other one and borrow it. Again, I am not an Adobe guru. This is just a process I've learned that works very well for me, so I'm trying to help out somebody that might not have figured this part out yet. Alright, so now it is time. We are going to go ahead and highlight everything we've done here. We're going to go up here to Object, and we're going to go to Expand. And Expand is basically going to trace everything and make everything as if it's a closed loop design. Like, okay, the border around that we first started with, it is now two lines running parallel to each other all the way around that design. And that way when you go, what it'll do is when it goes over to the EZCad software, then that'll actually be a hatched border. Okay, so we expanded it, and now we need to come over here. Over here I have what's called the Pathfinder menu open. If yours isn't open on your screen, you can go up here to Window, down to Pathfinder, and open that. Okay, and it'll usually like pop up over here or something, but I've got mine as part of this now. I need to re-highlight this since I clicked all that. And I'm going to hit this one right down here. It's the bottom center-ish. It says Merge. And it's basically going to put all of that together and make it to where it's kind of one layer for me. Alright, now this part, very important, but it's also the part that's going to make things disappear. Take your magic wand, okay, and I'm going to find me some of the black on this, and I'm going to click on it, and then now that magic wand tool, it highlights all the black. Okay, so I'm going to go to Select, Inverse, and then I hit the Delete button. Okay, and what it did, it took a lot of the negative background away. okay? But the adverse part of that is it also took away my outline that I do want to keep, okay? So, good news. We still have our outline right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my outline. I'm going to go ahead and expand it because I need it to be that double outline again. Okay, then I'm going to copy it and I'm going to take it back over to the knife. Paste. Alright, and then I need to make sure that it perfectly lines up with the original artwork over here. Okay, pretty close. I'm just using my keys, my arrow keys, to move it ever so slightly. Okay, now I'll do the exact same thing right here. So I highlight the name and the box that it's in. Okay, I'm going to expand them. And then I'm going to copy them and put them in there as well. Okay. There we go. Kind of snapped into place. Now, if we did all of that right, we can save this as the DXF. Whoop, I forgot one more little thing. I'm going to take that one more time and I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it. Okay, and I'll take it off of that so that it's completely separate. And you'll see why I do that once we get over to the EZCad in just a second. Now, I am going to export this as a DXF file, okay? And this is the Kershaw Leak Copper. Lindy is the customer's name, and this one's for the video. And I'm going to change this to millimeters instead of inches because EZCad works in millimeters. And then my scale is going to be 1 millimeter equals 1 unit. Now, we get over here to EZCad. You can see where I was doing all this earlier to make sure I was doing it right. Nothing more embarrassing than screwing it up on live, right? Alright, so I'll delete that. Now, this is just the... I don't have a laser connected to this computer. This is actually on my dining room table. So this laser will, or this program will not save anything, but I am going to bring it over just to show you. We're going to go up here to import vector file. That's the Kershaw Leak Copper Lindy Video DXF file. Okay, and see, that's what I was talking about. When we did the image trace, that turned one line into two. And that's what makes this thing hatchable, I guess you could say. Now, if we did it all right, then what we can do here is, let's make this thing a lot smaller. I'm not 100% sure what the measurement is on the leak. I've got a micrometer at my where my laser is that I'll use when I'm ready for that. Sorry for kicking the camera. Let me straighten that back up there. Okay, I've got a micrometer I'll use to measure the actual pocket knife when it comes time to, you know, linking this thing up. But I'm just going to show you how I get ready to do this on the actual program. Alright, got that centered so we can zoom in on it some. Now, her name did not come across on this, so what we'll have to do is I'll save it as its own DXF file in just a second, and we'll do it separately, apparently. Okay, no big deal. Again, I still hadn't figured it all out, but I've got a method, and it works for me. Okay, so I need to ungroup, and when I ungroup it the first time, then what it should be doing is ungrouping, yeah, the bottom one from the top one. We're going to use this one for when we go to actually put this on the knife. We'll use it for measuring that, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But this one, we are going to hatch. So whatever your hatch settings, whatever you want them to be, I think I've just got one hatch open on this thing right now. So everything should be closed loop, and it should hatch nicely. There it is. Okay, so if you zoom in, you can see that, I mean, this thing is hatched beautifully, and everything is going to be ready to go. We've just got to get that name in there now. Okay, so we're going to go back to Adobe Illustrator. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, I bet it's that background color right there that's causing the problem, but that's okay because I don't even need that box anymore. Edit. I need to ungroup it. Okay. There. Now I've got that name. That's all I really need. I'll just open me a new file right quick. Whoops. I used the word open and it caused me to do the wrong thing there. Okay, new file. I'm going to copy this thing there. Edit, paste. All right, see? So there it is right there. Now all I need to do is, it is already expanded, I know that. So we're going to export it as a DXF. Lindy name. Okay. Once again, we'll make that into millimeters. Alright, now we'll go over here to EZCad, import it. Now we always have to find it on our screen. It's usually way up at the top for some reason. Oh, there it is at the bottom. Okay. Of course, we need to scale it down some. Alright, it should hatch beautifully just like it is, so we'll click on hatch. Check that out. Okay. A little more. Perfect. That's exactly how I would want it. Now, a little bit more work here, and we're going to be ready. We would be ready to zap this if we had a laser on here. We don't. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to click on this one that's down here. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. Get where I can see more of it here. Okay, now each of these is actually 2 lines because we did the expand earlier. There we go. Oops, and I need to ungroup it again. Now, I want to take the inside line, okay, the smaller of the 2 outlines, and I want to delete it. I'll do the same thing right here, but I have to ungroup it again. That's one of the hardest things, is figuring out all the layers and where all the grouping is and stuff like that. It really makes it difficult, and it also screws up your hatch settings because, you know, what if there were accidentally 3 lines right here? Then it would just totally throw everything off. Okay, now I need to highlight this one and ungroup it. Okay, and again, I'm going to delete the small one. Highlight this one. Oh, there it is. I'll delete the small one. Now, let me zoom out of that a little bit. I'm going to highlight the entire outline, and I'm going to group it. Okay. So we're going to group that group, and then we're going to group the knife, the actual one that we're trying to use for the yeah. Alright, now I am going to take, see that the X is always, when you go to move something, the X is always right in the middle of it. I'm going to take it and put it right at where it lines up with the 0 up here and the 0 over here. Okay, and you're about to see why. Now I'm going to highlight the other one. Oops, what happened there? Make sure that thing's grouped because it allowed me to. Okay, now we're down to just 2 groups. Good. Okay, so I'm going to take and going to put it also to where my crosshairs line up with the 0s. Okay, and then I'm going to zoom way in. All right. Again, it takes a while. My computer runs pretty slow when it's got Adobe and EZCad both open. Apologize. Alright, now I'm going to grab the one that was just the outline right quick. Okay, and I'm going to zoom way in because I want to make sure that that crosshair is exactly where the 0s line up. Okay, so there's the crosshair, and I'm going to take it, so there's my 0s on both my X and Y axis. I get confused as to which is which. I apologize. And I put it exactly there. Okay, now I grab the other one, the one that's actually the carving, and I put it also right on the XY 0. Okay, and I'll show you why I do that. Okay, now here's why I do that. When I go to put the knife on the laser, turn all that black just to get the red out of the way. When I go to put the knife on the laser, if I tell it to light up this area, then it'll go through and it'll go through every single line on here. But if I delete that and now I tell it to light up, it will just do the outline of the knife. So I put the knife under there, I get it to do the outline and everything. If it doesn't exactly line up, then I undo the delete, and I change whatever needs to be changed to all of it at once, okay? So if it needs to be scaled down some more, then I'll highlight the entire thing and scale it down some more. You don't want to lose your lineup of your engraved area plus your outline, okay? And then when it's all said and done, you can delete. What I'll do is I'll just click on the engraving one, hit the up key, it'll move out of my way. Then I can grab the other one and delete it. Then I can go back to the engraving one, hit the down button, and now it's going to be exactly where the other one lined up. And now that sucker's ready to burn. As far as settings and stuff, that's for a whole nother video. But that's how I do all my lineup when I've got something this crazy ready to burn onto something expensive like a $100 pocket knife. So I hope that taught you something. I hope everybody was able to learn something from it. I'm going to throw it out there one more time. I am not the best Adobe Illustrator or EZCad worker in the world, but I've found a process that works, and I hope that it works for you too. So, again, my name is Aaron Heiser of Silverback Customs, and please subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, and we'll be putting out more videos in the near future. Have a great night.